start tonight's show off a little differently than how we typically start off tonight, our usual shows. So, the night was February 22nd, 1988. 1988, yes, 88. And a lovely Liberian woman gave birth to the prince that we know as Jetty. And just yesterday, we celebrated my main man's 34th birthday. So, first of all, happy birthday to you, fam. Sending you well wishes and all that. The following year, February 23rd, 1989, I was created. And now you have Pisces season, and you have two hosts that are celebrating. Well, I'm celebrating my 33rd, and Jetty is celebrating his 34th. But tonight we are wrapping up our series on Black History. Part 4, the intro, featuring the African butterfly. Oh, there she is. How you doing today? I'm gonna actually bring you in since I see that you're here. How's your day going? So let me post up this while Instagram is bringing you in. What up with you now?
Happy birthday.
Thank you. How you feeling?
Good. Are you having a good birthday?
Yeah, it's been really good. Like I had a few surprises that reached out to me and wished me a happy birthday. So it made today like real enjoyable. But overall the day's been pretty smooth and
Yeah,
chill.
that's good. I'm big on birthdays, so I always want people to have good birthdays.
Yeah, me too. Like that's typically like my thing. That like help people like really enjoy themselves because not too many people really take the time to enjoy their birthdays. Sadly.
Right. Which is unfortunate because it's like the one day to celebrate you.
Yeah, and I don't
Make
get
it.
it.
Yeah,
So,
but good. I'm glad you celebrated.
oh yeah. So Jetty is
Am
going.
I breaking up for you? I can't tell if it's your internet or mine.
Oh,
My
I'm breaking
internet's
up.
well, it's probably mine.
Hold on, let me check my status. It might be mine because I just touched in not too long ago. Okay, yeah. So on my angle, it got you spinning around. Am I spinning around on yours? Ooh, I think that might be mine. Guys, if that is me, please let me know. Let me check my. Everybody entering the room. How y'all doing? What's the vibes? You know. So tonight's episode, while we setting up and getting all the technical difficulties out the way, is going to be discussing, the elephant in the room when it comes to the Black community, the N word, and we're going to get into all that entails, you know. Oh, here we go. So Nemani is ready to jump back in, so I'm bringing her back in. But we're going to get into all that it tells, In a
Yeah.
few minutes, Jetty will be joining us as well. He just running a little bit late. But there we
Okay.
go.
I think you're good now. I turned off the Wi-Fi, so it's just on the mobile data. 'Cause sometimes my Wi-Fi is all weird for no reason.
Oh, snap. Oh, bad. Well, yeah, I can understand that. That's kind of how mine is too. Who you with? Verizon?
Actually, Xfinity now.
Xfinity? Yeah.
Yeah. So you and Jetty are born on the same week? Because his birthday was this week too, right?
Yeah, yesterday. So that's,
Yesterday.
yeah. So
Small world.
he actually a year and a day older than me.
Nice.
He missed it.
Pisces are cool people.
Yeah, I like to think we love and caring individuals, but well, every sign is loving and understanding to a certain extent.
Yeah.
It's just always those few bad apples that kind of ruin it for the whole sign.
Yeah. Well, plus there's also, as with anything, nurture versus nature. So there are some people who are more like just their signs, and some people are more like stuff that life has impacted them and made them a certain way. Plus there's like an evolved version and a not evolved version, right? Because there's your growth and your way you learn, and you can be like the higher version of yourself while still having the characteristics of your sign.
Yeah, that's true. I won't debate that at all because I've definitely come across people that their signs suggested they should be one way and they acted another. And
Mm-hmm.
that's always been like a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, yeah,
But there are those signs that, like due to my past experiences with members of that sign, I'm just like, you know what, I'm cool.
yeah, yeah.
I'm at the point now in my life, if I'm asking you for your sign, it's either because we vibing super hard or you getting on my nerves. And I'm just like,
Yeah, yeah. I
like,
don't know, like I'm interested in signs in the sense of like I like knowing about them and like I know my sun, moon, and rising. Like I know all three of mine, but I also don't like play super close. Like I'm not the type of person to be like, oh, you're a this or you're a that. Like sometimes if it's like blaringly obvious with a couple of signs I can, but I don't pay like that close attention to it.
oh, dang. See, I haven't even tapped in that far as like learning like what is it, the rising moon or the rising sun?
Yeah, your rising and your moon, because those are more like I guess your sun sign is like the outer persona of you, and then like your rising is like more of your like core. Like, don't quote me on it. Find someone who knows what they're talking about, but they matter. So like I'm all air. So like my main sign is a Libra, but like my moon is Gemini, and my rising is an Aquarius. I'm like all air.
Oh,
So
dang.
and like I don't really know exactly what that all means, but the other day I had a friend who's like super into it. And she didn't know my sign yet, and she's like, I think you're a Libra, or because I went on a rant about something and she's like, you're giving me some strong Aquarius too. I was like, actually that's my rising. She's like, aha, I knew it was in there. I'm like, that's crazy that from me ranting you could point out like what things. So it's cool when you talk to someone who knows what they're talking about.
Yeah. See, I'm still a novice when it comes to that. And honestly, I don't know. I think I kind of prefer it that way because I
Yeah.
feel like once you know too much, then you start looking, you start because I am triggered and slightly annoyed by grown adults that be like, you know what? The reason I did that is because I'm a Cancer or
Yeah.
or I'm a Leo.
Yeah.
Be
Yeah.
like, like accept the accountability for the stuff you did. Like the sign only gonna play but so much. And I think
Right,
that's
because
part of
that's where the whole being evolved thing comes into play. Like Libras, for example, are indecisive. Like we're just supposed to be indecisive, but I am not. Like I like to make decisions. But I will admit, because I am a Libra, like my friend's a Virgo, and she's like, "You are indecisive." I'm like, "No, I'm not." But that's because Virgos are like this with stuff. But like I do take the time to weigh both sides and see all angles and stuff. But I don't consider myself indecisive because I do need to make that decision. I don't go, "Oh, I'm a Libra. I'm not going to make a decision."
Oh man. Yeah, I won't put that just on Libras. I see, honestly, to me, that's more of a woman's thing, for real, because every woman I've encountered has been indecisive. Like whether
Not
it's
all women
over
are indecisive.
not all, but the ones I've encountered, most of them have been indecisive. Like, and
Yeah,
it's not
maybe you've
always like a
encountered a lot of
bad thing.
Libras.
Yeah, probably. Some of them are a few Taurus, some of them are a few Leos. Definitely an Aquarius up in there somewhere, and a Scorpio. Yeah,
Mm.
but yeah, it's not major stuff. Like sometimes it's like even like little stuff like dinner, like indecisive over what you want to eat. And
Yeah,
dinner. Like, come on,
yeah,
like,
that happens sometimes. Yeah.
yeah, that's understandable. That's life stuff. Well,
And
you
like
got a
some
busy.
signs have like more like some signs get better reps than other signs. Like sometimes they'll be like, oh, you're that? That's crazy. Luckily, I'm a Libra. Most people love us. Why wouldn't they? Um, except that I'm also on like a Scorpio cusp. So I was born on the last day that you could be a Libra. And like every time I say that to someone who knows signs, they're like, oh, you're a freak. I'm like, okay, calm down. Like, because because that's what Scorpios are known for, because they're all like wild and vengeful.
I don't know, Namani, because you have like written a few comments in the comment sections on the show a few times where I was just like, okay.
I don't know what you're talking about.
There's
It's the
been a few
cusp.
comments like the eyes rose up like, oh, okay, like, let it
Yes,
fly,
well,
like.
I'm very balanced. I am very balanced. I am on
I
both
like that.
sides of everything, so that's fine.
I like that. I like that. Balance is key. So you got a busy night ahead of yourself. Like, do you
I
want to tell
do. Yeah,
people
I have to
about?
bounce right at 8.
Yeah. You want to tell
Can I
people about?
plug my other things while we're waiting for Jetty? He said he's getting
Yeah.
to a better spot. So at 8, so I have a company called National Plus Guide. It's a directory for all things like plus size positive, to like promote businesses and just different things for people, and just to create like a safe space. Trying to grow it. I have some ideas for where I want it to go. But one thing we're doing now is plus love stories, because I noticed that like a lot of times when you go to different pages, like I love the page like me and somebody's son. But there's rarely ever any plus size couples. And I know like growing up, you tend to think like, oh, because I'm chunky, I won't get love or nobody will like me, which is not true. Trust me, the DMs aren't dry. So like there is love out there for everybody. So I started a series called Plus Love Stories, where we share the love stories of different plus size couples. So I'm interviewing one tonight at 8. So after this, if you guys are here, jump over there to National Plus Guide. It'll be saved. And then at 9, was it 9? No, 10. 9. Yeah, at 9, the finale of Big Brother, Celebrity Big Brothers tonight. So me and some of the girls are talking about it.
What's Big Brother?
What's Big Brother, Dash?
Yeah.
Hold on. Big Brother is like one of the best competition shows. It's been on forever. It's where you get like all these people and they live in a house and they have to vote each other out of the house.
Okay.
And they play like games to win like HOH to figure out who's going to put people on the block, and play games to win like veto to see who they're going to kick off. It's really fun. Some people play the game like really well. Some people are like vicious and lie and like are manipulative. So it's interesting. It's fun. And then every like now and then they do a celebrity edition. So this year was celebrity. So they had like Lamar Odom,
Okay.
Shayna, what's her name, who was married to Travis Barker. They had Todd Bridges, you know, what's up,
Oh,
Willis?
from Different Strokes?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Carson. So they had some interesting. This season was pretty good.
Yeah, it's giving me Real World meets Survivor vibes.
That's exactly what it is. Yep.
Okay. I might have to tune in today. I was
Well,
big
tonight's
on
the
Real
finale,
World.
but they're all on there.
Oh,
The
yeah.
next,
That's what I was about to say. I'm sure I could binge it somewhere.
yeah. Hey, Daddy.
Right. In the
That
city of dreams.
how you doing, that African butterfly? How are you, love?
Doing great. Happy belated birthday.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Dash,
Thank you. What's good? What you playing?
cold. Let's get to it.
You in the city of dreams, though. You know, where Pac was the nigga, where Pac was on top. Now Fabio the nigga in charge.
Feel you. What's going on?
Wasn't it like 70 degrees outside today? Now it's freezing again?
It was beautiful. I don't know. The thing is, I was in Philadelphia for a while, and it was lovely. It was lovely in Philly. And then I come out here to New York, and it feels like wintertime is still like, you know what I mean, twerking her booty out here and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Still February.
Real.
So now that we done did the pleasantries, you guys want to tap into the topic for today?
I thought we've been tapped into the topic. I thought I was supposed to just jump into this joint like double dutch, man. What's going on?
We've been
We went way off. We were talking about
Yeah.
signs and nature versus nurture, and then Big Brother. So we were all over the place.
I know. But before we get too far into the episode, shout out to T-Shirt Mercenary for the fly T-shirts. PVM, we got these on sale now, so you can hop in my DM, Jetties, or Kang Groovin', or the PVM DM and leave your shirt size, the color size you want, and we can send it off to you. Also, until the end of this month, we'll be giving free shirts away to anyone that subscribes to our YouTube channel. But you must send us a screenshot or a recording that you subscribe to the YouTube channel to our PVM page, and then we'll get it out to you. So
Smart.
now we can tap into it.
Now we can tap into it. It's the last episode for Black History Month, right?
Yeah.
February flew by.
Oh yeah, February too short. But I mean, we're not done with Black History. Black History can happen all year round, you know.
Facts.
This country needs it. We need
True.
it.
So how'd you guys pick today's topic?
actually we was having a conversation. What was it, last week when we came up with this topic, and we were just chopping it up, and it was just like it was like the elephant in the room that had to be addressed. Like if we talking Black history, we can't like just skip over the fact of like nigga, like, and what it means to our culture, what it means to us as people, how we feel, how we react to it. You know, when is it cool for opposite races to say it, if it's ever cool for them to say it, you know, and dive into all of it. Like, so honestly, Namani, we can start off with you. How do you feel about, you know,
Yeah, to start with me. My thoughts on it have evolved over the years. I used to be very strongly like, no one should say it. Like why say it at all? It's not, you know, like if you don't want one group of people to say it, don't have another group say it. And I understand the logic of like, we're taking the power back, but I always felt like, how is it taking the power back to call yourself an insult that someone else called you? Like, how is that taking any power back? So that would used to be my stance. Now I've gotten a little more lax on it. I still don't really say it unless there's like certain things where like I'll be rapping. You know what's interesting? Because I've been watching a lot of like BET more, and like there's some music. I'll find myself mentally saying it a lot more than I ever would before. Like before, I wouldn't even think to say it, and now I'll be like doing something and be like, please. I'm like, oh, did I say that? So it's like slowly creeping into my vocabulary. But yeah, I mean, I get it. I get the sense of camaraderie that comes from it, the sense of like, hey, this is my person, like we're the only ones that can say it. It's like our it's our whatever. So like I said, I'm more lax on it, but I always used to be very much like just have nobody say it.
Okay.
I'm straight. I keep 100 with y'all. I don't give a fuck about the word no more. Don't care. I used to be, when I was younger, I had instances in which I felt I had to defend the word if another culture outside of my own used it. And there was a couple of instances in which, you know, because I went through, my K through 12 was split between public and private school education. So I had instances in which I was around people that looked like me, and instances in which I was not around people that looked like me. You know, and the instances in which I were around people that didn't look like me, there were times that people would use the word and I didn't know how to fucking react. Because I was like, man, I ain't got no fucking support. If I jump up and say, hey, dun, 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 never use that word. You know what I'm saying? What the fuck gonna happen? You know what I'm saying? But I grew and I matured and I'm like, man, ain't no one word gonna have no power over me. You can use it, whatever the fuck you want to do, use that shit. But listen, this is what's gonna happen. I'm not gonna play Christ for you if you use that around me and one of my other niggas feel some type of way. Or somebody else around me feel some type of way. I ain't gonna play Christ conscious on that. You know what I mean? With me, it is what it is because that's just my personal philosophy. You know what I mean? Ain't no one word gonna hold me down and make me feel like you can either excite me or you could denigrate me with one word. But watch yourself because my mind ain't like the people I'm with. You know what I'm saying? So use at your discretion.
Yeah.
What if they use it directed towards you? Are you still cool with them using it?
I look at it like any derogatory adjective. You know, if it's used in such a way, then I'm gonna take it as disrespect. The same way as if somebody would use any type of disrespectful, derogatory adjective towards me that didn't encapsulate the word nigga. Like if somebody was like, you bitch ass bitch or some shit like that, I'ma still feel some type of way. I'm like, oh my God. If somebody said bitch ass nigga and it was outside the car, hey man, listen, you just put a little bit too much pepper. You might have to get that. You know what I'm saying? But a little bit too much pepper, man. Slow your roll, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, like I hear you. I'm trying to get to where you at, Jetty. I'm trying to get to that mental place because it still hold a little power over me. Like you catch me the wrong day, that saying that gonna get you slapped. Like that's real time. Like I don't really. See, I was that young boy growing up. Like when I heard it, it was instant. Oh, we scrapping. Like there's no words to be said. Like whether it was a slip of the tongue, you reciting music lyrics, or you just talking. Like it was straight. I hear it. You not black. I'm going in your mouth. Like when you grow up, you kind of get into a lot of fights. At least for me, because I grew up around like a lot of white people too, especially like during my school years. So that would lead to like a lot of a lot of times where I would end up suspended, you know. So after a while, you know, I kind of got to start monitoring like how I react to it. But even now, it'll still rev me up to a certain extent. Now, depending on where I'm at, you might just get a verbal bashing from me. You know, like if I'm at a work setting and I hear it, I'll be polite and I address it first, and I'll be like, hey, whoa. You recognize what you said, you know, and try to get a person a chance to like correct themselves, be like, you know, because sometimes people do be fucking up and be like, you know, like they be forgetting where they at, like, because I know, regardless of whether I want them to say it, white people saying this shit, you know, whether they with
Especially
the
when they're
homie,
singing lyrics.
yeah, they saying the lyrics and they saying the word like just in regular casual, like, I know for a fact about that because I got a racist guy at my job and he's outward with his racism, like, but he knows not to say the N word. That's the one thing he knows, like. And I had an incident with him. I remember like my second day working, and he let it slide. Well, he let it fly because he was just like, "Man, I'm tired of y'all niggas," like referring to the black people. And I was just like, "Whoa," like I was just like, you know, you can still get your ass stumped the fuck out in this job, like. And when I said that, he looked over to me, and I was just like, I didn't hesitate. I didn't stutter either. Like, if you couldn't hear me properly, I'll project louder if I need to. Like, but the message still stands, and he hasn't said it since. But I do know it's said amongst them. So in work settings, I try to give people like the chance to like correct themselves. But if they still free with it, then I'm quick to be like, you know what, holla at me at 5 o'clock. You know, run at the Wawa.
Now, do you guys watch how you say it around other people in certain settings? Like, of course, if you're around like you and your homies or whatever, you're gonna say whatever. But is it like not even necessarily full code switching, but do you at least like watch how you say it in certain groups, or you don't care?
Nah, to a degree, yeah. I will say that I've been a bit more conscious in my use of the word, especially as a musician. I'm a lot more conscious with my use of the word because of what Dash said, like, you know what I mean, and because of what you said, Neymade, like, you know, white people eating the words to the songs and whatnot. It's like, all right, well, you know, you can't escape accountability at that point. You know what I mean? And I also know that certain people outside of our culture, they genuinely feel disturbed and they feel uncomfortable when that word is brought up. So I like to be aware about that. I like to be mindful about that. It's like, just because I can use the words my discretion and Paul Mooney that shit and had that shit about my mouth every 20 minutes in the morning like it's mouthwash, like nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
if it makes somebody else that uncomfortable and shit, you know what I mean? I don't want to be that type of disturbance to you know what I mean, my immediate surroundings and shit.
See, that's where we differ, Juddy. For me, I'm mindful of how I use it, and like in certain areas I won't use it, like especially like if it's like more of a business setting. But if I can see the discomfort in their faces, I'll verbally use it, like just to see them become more uncomfortable. Like it's not. I honestly get like a little joy seeing white people be uncomfortable at times, like.
Yeah, you said shit.
You know,
Okay.
and I feel like after all my people been through, them feeling slightly uncomfortable because I could say a word that they shouldn't say. You know, I mean, really, like, hey, this life ain't fair, like they tell me, like. So, like, sometimes I will do it, like, and if I'm around, like if I can feel the racial tension, I'll start letting it fly, and then I'll start looking around to see which one of the white people, you know, want to kind of join in on that, like, hey, you know, like. Just so I can point them out, be like, oh, okay, so you the main racist, you definitely hate us. Like sometimes I'll be looking for the drama, and that's where I gotta slow down. Like,
Yeah, you should want to get away from the drama.
yeah.
I want to
Sometimes
ask.
they just be calling me.
I want to ask y'all. This is something interesting, and this is inspired by what you just said, Dash. And Neymade, this goes to you, of course. You know what I mean as well, and to everybody in the comment section. Do y'all feel that the use of the word nigger denotes a racist?
Well, when you put that
Can you
ER
say it
on
with
it,
the heart
yeah,
with the ER or A?
yeah. I know, cause that ER that's heavy racism, bro.
Yes, there's a
Like,
difference.
yeah, hell yeah, it's a
There's a
difference.
huge difference. The ER, yes, the answer to your question, if it's said with the ER,
Oh,
Yes,
you get
because
slapped.
everybody knows where that word comes from, what that word means. Even if you're black and you say it with the hard ER, it's a problem. But if you say it with the A, then it becomes that whole like, hey, like whatever. I mean, at the end of the day, we all know that nobody really outside of black people should say ER or A. But I'm not going to instantly think a white person is racist if they say it with the A. I might just think they grew up in a certain area or listen to certain things or around certain people. Versus like if they say it with an ER, because rarely does anyone say ER and they mean it in a positive way. Rarely, if ever. Except for, and I know there was all that stuff with like the Joe Rogan thing. And I guess from the way he was using it, he was trying to do examples. That also to me is different. That, and even though he still shouldn't say it, that to me is still different than like flat out calling someone an ER or using it with the ER.
Yeah, I'm gonna echo everything that Monty said. Because even if you black, don't say it with the ER to me. You know, like I feel like you called me a slave at that point. So.
Oh, see, man, my ego just jumped in. I almost wanted to say it.
Hold on,
Do
let me.
you say it with the ER?
No, I don't. I only say that to troll, honestly. It don't even sound right coming out my throat. If I said it with the ER, I know I'm saying it intentionally.
Yeah.
So Betty Boo said, maybe I wouldn't flat out call them racist, but it depends on how they act when I check them.
Agreed, Betty Boop.
And she said it doesn't matter to her either in regards to the ER versus the A. And Pretty Rue said she had a pale friend that didn't say it. One tried. I told her not around me. I won't protect her. And she slipped up at the club and I didn't know her. Hey,
Yeah.
you warned her first, you know. You know, like that's all you can do. Like you get that one warning, and after that one warning, it's just like, all right, well, however you decide to move after this is a conscious decision. Like you're choosing the path you want to walk down. So
Yeah.
you got to remember, certain things will get certain reactions out of people, you know. And my
Yeah, and I think
grandpa always told me, you know, like you can't tell a person how they can react to something they find disrespectful. Like everybody has their how they respond to disrespect in different ways. Like some people they're gonna talk to you, and some people, well, honestly, you can end up dating saying nigga around some people. I was watching this one clip just this weekend, I think, and it was like this guy out in South Carolina. He was at a restaurant and one of the white customers was screaming nigga, and he was sitting there enjoying dinner with his wife. He got up from the table and like slapped the shit out my man through the whole bar, like like, and my man, the white guy screaming nigga, he just getting a shit slapped out
oh,
of
I
him, like
saw that. Yeah. Yeah. I saw that. And I appreciated that it was slaps too,
yeah.
because you just heard every smack.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
yes. That nigga went Millie Wop on it.
No, so I was gonna say, like, I think that it also comes down to like, I know for me with the evolving of being okay with the N-word, it's also been as a result of my being okay with, I guess you say AAVE, African American vernacular, or Ebonics, because we talked about it before, I grew up in the suburbs. So I very much grew up with that mentality of like, what is appropriate speak and what is not appropriate speak. So when you grow up in that environment, you just naturally also align that with like intelligence as well and professionalism. So like, I grew up with like, if you speak this way, the proper way, which we all know is also the white way, because white is right, is how we're all taught, then you're smarter, you're more professional, you have all that stuff together. And if you speak the other way with like the ebonics and the slangs and the whatever, then like you're hood and you're not as smart and you're blah, blah, blah. So for me, it was also a matter of distancing myself from that. And actually, I was just talking about it with a friend in a podcast, because he grew up in the same type of environment I did too, where he was like the only black person around majority white people. And we actually handled it very differently. Like because he knew he stood out, went out of his way to be the class clown and went out of his way to be like, hey, if I'm standing out anyways, here I am. And because I knew I stood out, went out of my way to try to blend in as much as possible to be like the good example of the black person, you know? So trying to get away from that, I was very much like not accepting of it growing up, But then, like, as I got older and educated myself and broke away from the shackles of my youth learnings and, like, got that, like, no matter how someone talks, like, they're intelligent and they have, whether it's street smarts or school smarts, doesn't speak to anything. And just because someone says something a certain way, the way that we've been taught versus which, and I'm glad now we call it African American vernacular and it's its own thing, not just slang. That doesn't say how, like, where their level of intelligence is. And I think it's good that A, I've evolved from that, but B, overall, I think as a society, we're starting to evolve from that as well.
I can do good. And I actually had like that same, well, like a similar like pull growing up as well, like um trying to represent our culture in one way and not be viewed as a certain type of Black person, especially like in a business setting, versus completely being myself and just being like, yo, this is me. Like, however I talk, that's how I talk. I'm not going to code switch. And like, as I've gotten older, I've become more comfortable, and I guess I've been given less of a damn, and I've just been more of myself in every setting, like whether that's business, chilling, whatever, like the same dash you're going to get everywhere. Like however I talk with my homies is how I'm going to talk with my business, because for me, is what became visibly clear is like, as I keep moving up in these companies, I'm seeing people from other race steal our culture. And while they emulate our culture in these work settings is no issue whatsoever. Is actually looked upon as, oh, okay, that's such and such personality. But as soon as someone of our skin color is different, our natural personality is, oh no, you're hood, you're ghetto, you're what, you're this, you're that. And it's just like, no. First of all, I'm limiting them stereotypes. Like, I'm me, like, and you're going to address me as such, like, I'm not every Black person. And when I step in this room, although you may view me as like I'm carrying the whole weight of my race, I'm gonna stop feeling like, yo, the whole race is on my shoulders, because it's not. Like, how you
Yeah.
feel about me or you feel about my race, you really gonna feel about that way, regardless of what I do, say, act, perform, whatever. Like, it's not really gonna change it, and if it does, it's only gonna change it, but so much. Because as soon as you see something that fits your image of what my race looks like or would do, it's gonna go back and feed your narrative of, oh yeah, I knew Black people was this, that, and the third, so.
Mm-hmm. You're so right, and that's how they try to drag us into respectability politics. Like,
Yeah.
oh, if you behave the way you're supposed to, then they won't think this way, but they're going to think what they think anyways. And it's not, like you said, it's not on us to carry the shoulder of our entire race. Like, if a white person acts up, everyone's not like, oh, all white people. So, like, why do we have to feel like it's all Black people? Like, it's not our
Yeah.
job.
I feel like that's like a burden, like us as Black people, we kind of grew up with, like, because I remember even growing up, like, that was deep into me by my step pops. He was always like real mindful of that, like, yo, you want to be careful of what the other races think about you when you out. You want to present yourself a certain way. And like, as I kind of got older, it's just like, what, like, I'm tired of fitting into their image of who they want me to be. Like, I'm gonna be who I'm gonna be,
Mm-hmm.
and you're either gonna see I'm able to do whatever the job is, whatever this partnership is, or whatever, off my own merit, or you're not. Like, and if it's really an issue, like my personality, my race, then it really wasn't meant for me to work up in this, because eventually it's going to be something that's going to cause a divide, because it's only so long I can go on pretending to be something I'm not. Like, one
Mm-hmm.
day I'm going to slip up, and when I slip up, I don't need to wear looks,
Right. And I think part of it is age too. Like, now that you guys have joined me in the mid-30s, welcome.
Yeah.
I think as you get older, you also start caring less. Like, at least that's definitely what happened for me. Like, probably my late 20s to early 30s, I started just like not giving a damn anymore and just like finding it exhausting to try to be anything other than what I am. And it's interesting that you mentioned code switching, because we do that a lot in our culture, but I always felt that I code switched the other way. Like, because of where I grew up, how I talked or whatever, when I would get in Black environments, it felt more uncomfortable. Like, it felt more of a put on to, I don't know, embrace the Blackness more, because that wasn't my natural setting, if that makes sense. Like, now I'm around it enough that it's a little bit more comfortable, but it used to feel more awkward there. Like, I would give the example, like, if you had like a room of all Black people and a room of all white people, if I had to step into the room, I would feel comfortable in the all black people room versus the all white people room. But if I had to open my mouth and speak, I would feel more comfortable in the all white people room because I knew they would be more accepting of the way I spoke than the all black people room. That makes sense.
No, that does. Like, and that's
Jed, I think you're on mute still.
Oh, can y'all hear me?
oh
Yeah,
yeah, now we can.
Oh, okay. I thought I kept myself on mute too. Pardon me. You know.
But no, that's a real thing, Neymade, because like we was talking about that. I think it was the last episode we was talking about that too, and like that's really heavy in the black community. But I think like people like you, we need y'all to be like more yourselves, even around us, like around other black people. Like if you're inquisitive, you're intelligent, and you speak with intelligence like all the time. Like we do need that because we need that representation, you know.
You guys
And,
clown us so bad.
huh?
Just clown us.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, like people make jokes and they crack jokes on things that they wish, you know, like sometimes most times a joke is hitting with a hidden agenda because they kind of idolize or they, you know, they fancy, they wish they could speak as eloquent as you know, or wish they had the level of intelligence that you have. So, you know, it pissed them at arms where it's just like, oh, okay, I don't have that excuse of I'm black, you know, so this is why I don't speak, or this is why I don't know this, you know, like, because like if you have it and I have it and we both the same skin color, I don't have that built-in excuse no more. Now it's accountability on like I just need to learn. I just need to level up, you know. And I do feel like as a race at times we scared to level up at times. We're scared to pick up a book. You know, it's easier to pick up the remote, lay back on the couch and watch TV for a few hours than pick up a book and read, you know.
I also feel that we don't have, you know what? I can't say we don't, because right now where we are, words in Neymade, we the gatekeepers now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're young. We might not have had the gatekeepers that we needed at our age now, like the mid, like the still kind of cool young adults that can come up to us and tell us and check us in a real way that wasn't like in a way that made us feel stupid. Because I remember there was like elders when they would look at, you know what I mean, the way that we would talk or whatnot from when I was young, from what I could recall, it was either dismissive or it was they would look at us in a certain type of way that was abrasive. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And few and far between in which there would be somebody who would actually come out of their shell and be like, "Hey, yo, look." Like I remember this one instance. There was a police officer that actually put me onto one of the realest shit ever. I used to live out in Bristol, and my mouth was foul at this time. Like my mouth was super foul. Pop fly, all my homies, our mouth was super foul. And we used to just like crack on each other. We used to clown on each other and shit. And it would be laden with profanity. You know what I'm saying? And we walked past this cop car, and what? My shit just went. And this cop came out. I was like, "Hey, come here." I was like, "Shit, you can get a show my cousin." I went up to him, and he said, "I'll never forget it." He was like, "Yo, you don't gotta cuss so much. There are words that you can use that are way worse than cuss words." And I didn't get it at that time because I was young. I'm like, what the fuck is he talking? In the back of my head, I ain't say it. I was like, all right, cool, thanks, officer. But in the back of my head, I'm like, what the fuck is he talking about? You don't know what the fuck you talking about. What's worse than a cuss word? And then you throw the fuck up, and that shit stayed with me because it was something that was so foreign. It stayed with me. And then as I grew and as I expanded my vocabulary and as I experienced life more and I got to realize, you know, just how powerful words are, period, I understood exactly what he meant. You know what I mean? So now that we're the gatekeepers, we have that responsibility to the youth to be like, yo, you know, look, man, like, oh, look, you know what I'm saying? Just to lend that to them in such a way that if you don't listen to us now, cool. But what we say gonna resonate with you 5, 10, 15 years later. You're gonna be like,
should have told it.
Yeah, I think that's what people miss out on sometimes. I try to talk about it is like sometimes when you tell someone a message, they may not get it right away. It may not click right away. And sometimes people get so upset or insulted. Like sometimes you're just there to plant the seed, and that seed's going to take a minute to grow and blossom. So still say what you want to say, still plant it, but know that they may not always connect with it right away. But I've had so many experiences where I'm like, oh, I remember back when this person said this random thing in a conversation, and then something will happen and it'll click, and I'm like, oh, that makes sense now. So I think it's so important, like you said, that we're sharing that information, and also that people are just okay with learning. You know, I think a lot of times, and no one really likes to be uncomfortable, but like there's so much like goodness that comes from it. And I feel like once you get to the point where you realize like how actually great it is to not know things. Like I love learning. Like I got to the point where I'm just like, I love learning new things, like no matter like what it's about, like it's interesting, it's fun to me, and like I love words. And it doesn't always feel good to say I don't know, but when you get comfortable, and I think we talked about that last time too, saying I don't know. When you get to the point though where you can like comfortably, because nobody knows anything, right? Everything, right? Like as intelligent as I am, whatever my IQ is, I don't know everything. I'm never going to, so I'm not going to be ashamed to say I don't know, because I want you to teach me. I want you to tell me things. And I think if people were less defensive and more open to the fact of saying I don't know, then you would also have more growth. But that also comes from people not making fun of other people for not knowing. Because people love to do that. Like, oh, you don't know that shit? Okay, you didn't wake up knowing everything. And that's across the board, whether it's like life things, whether it's wokeness, because I hate people who act like they were born woke. Like, you don't know everything.
I need people to go to sleep.
Right. Yeah. People just need to calm down and realize that everyone's just in a learning place. And if people would talk less shit about other people who don't know, then they themselves wouldn't feel so embarrassed about saying that they don't know.
And that lies the issue right there. Like people, instead of passing on the knowledge, is met with, yo, I'm gonna disrespect you, I'm gonna ridicule you for not knowing this. Instead of being like, oh, you don't know, well, let me put you on, like, let me educate you so you know, like, so you could pass that information down to the next person, so more of our people know, so it's not, you know, so unknown to the masses. Like,
what do you think is the line between passing on the knowledge and minding your own business? Because I feel like with our culture, it's a fine line also, because we do have the whole like it takes a village mentality, but at the same time, there's a little bit of like mind your own business, you know, like for example, like with the women, when we had the whole thing with Monique coming out and talking about bonnets, right? There was definitely a divide between those of us who were like, let people do what they want, whatever they want to wear in their hair, leave them alone. And then there are the people who are like, we're the elders. It's our job to teach you the right way, what's right and wrong. So that's what we're doing. Like, where for you guys do you think that line is, or how do you figure out that line between, you know, minding your business and helping the whole?
It's probably more so in the relationship that you have with that person. Like, honestly, like, because information is a lot more receptive when you know the source is coming from, and you actually value and respect the source themselves, like whether that's male or female, you know, telling you the information. Because I'll speak for myself personally. In my life, I've been given like a lot of advice by a lot of different sources, but some of the advice that I had that could have been beneficial to me, I didn't take from certain people just simply because I didn't have a great relationship with them, or because I didn't trust where the message was coming from. Like even now, I'm getting into the point in my life where I'm getting to a state where I'm just like, you know what, it's not the messenger, it's the message. You know, listen to the message. Like if the message resonates with me, it don't matter who telling it to me. You know, just listen to the message and go with that, you know. And that's been a big issue for me, because for me, mostly, I need that closeness with a person, or I need to trust the person giving me the information to actually be like, okay, this might be useful. Because then I'll look at you and be like, well, you don't really know me. You don't really have no idea what I'm going through day to day. Like, you probably don't know the type of lifestyle I've been through. Like, so, like, really, like, you giving advice, but you giving advice unknowingly how to give advice. Like, you just running off your experiences, and like you can live through a person's experience, but you're going to be more beneficial applying that knowledge to your own experience, because we all walk different paths, you know, and while they may be similar at times, you know, they always differentiate. How about you, Jetty? How you feel about that?
You know, I liken it onto, I think the best way for me to put it is if, like, I move around a lot, right? So in me moving around, I opt for the most efficient path possible for me to go from A to Z, right? And once I find a path of familiarity, I'm rocking with it because I can put a time signature around it. I can predict when I'll be here. I can predict, what type of traffic or what type of obstacles or whatever might associate itself with this path or whatnot. If somebody comes out and says, hey, wait, you take that path? You take the A through Z path? You know that you can get to A through X and you'll technically be at Z a lot quicker or however. And it's like, really? And I take that path and I try that path after I, shake my little familiarity. I take that path and I find out that it's a better path. I'll rock with that path too. But I need to be put on to the fact that there's a better path, A, and it's also the way rather that a person puts me on, B. So if a person comes to me and they tell me that, oh man, your path is stupid, man, you need to pet. Hold on me. Like at this point, it don't even matter if my path is stupid or not because I make it work. So now you're insulting my intelligence. You know what I mean? So now I don't even give a fuck about whether your path is better or not because I'm a spiteful type of vindictive person when it comes to certain things regarding my ego. Honestly, I'm the type of person that I will honestly do something just to prove that my way, not to say it's better, but just to prove that I can get it done my way so that I can look at you with the face like this. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But if you speak to me in such a way where you understand where I'm coming from, and then you tell me, hey, there's a different option, if you so choose to appear this way, or if you so choose to move this way, I'm going to be a lot more receptive to it. And I'm gonna add it to my repertoire. You know what I'm saying? And then we're gonna see how it works. So it really depends on how a person speaks to me in that instance and how they wish to share their information.
That makes a lot of sense. For me, like, I'll be honest, I have few toxic traits, but that's one of them. Like, I can't stand unsolicited advice. Like, and I'll take it graciously, but like inside I'm bubbling up. And I think part of it is because like I'm pretty good about asking for advice. Like I'm not one of those people who thinks I know everything. I ask for advice when I need it. I think kind of like one of you were saying, like it depends on the source of where it's coming from. So for me, a lot of times, and I think because I know how much time I put into weighing a situation, like which direction, looking at different angles, different stuff. So especially when I'm at the point where I've made a decision, like if I'm still thinking and you give me advice, like, okay, but if I've made a decision and now you're trying to tell me something, like it takes everything inside of me not to be like, I didn't ask you for a reason. Like just because I respect you in one area of my life doesn't mean I respect you in another area of your life. And I didn't ask your 2 cents. I didn't want your 2 cents in this particular situation. So keep it to yourself. But I try to be kind about it. But inside, I'm like telling them off. Like it's really, and I'm working on it. I'm working on it. But because sometimes people, like you said, sometimes people do have good unsolicited advice. And so depending on the situation, I might, take it in and say like, thank you. But for the most part, it's like, listen, if I didn't ask you, like I don't, especially because it's always people who don't have experience in that area. Thanks. Like, I'm telling you what I'm doing. I know you have no experience in this area, but you want to give me your tips and advice. Like, get out of here.
Yeah. Well, it's always, like they say, it's always the ones that didn't do it that want to tell you how to do it.
How to do it better, too. And it's always like, this is how I would have done it better. Like, okay, bye.
I hate that line, like, especially when I hear someone say that, like, oh, I would have did this way. Be like, well, if you would have done it this way, well, then do your own version.
Do it that way. My favorite is because I will do like DIY projects and people will be like, oh, this is slightly off of that. I'm like, okay, so you do it. And then they can't do it. And I'm like, shut the hell up. That's what I thought. Like, don't open your mouth if you don't know if you can do it. Drives me insane.
Oh, yes. So we got a few comments here. We got to hit real quick. So Pretty Rude said, I think just pitting seeds in the universe works. Not to anyone directly. If it resonates, take it.
Mm-hmm.
King said, wait. King said, I would kill niggas? Wow. Hold on. I must have missed a message from him. Okay. So he said, no, me before you speak, it can get unleveled, depending on your speak.
He's probably talking about giving people advice or telling them they're wrong.
Okay. And then each mommy said, hey, y'all.
Well,
Okay.
that
I actually have to run in just a moment because I have
Yes.
another live, but I have loved doing this Black History Month chat with you guys. It has been fun. I know one of the things that I mentioned in our message was that we could talk about what we liked about being Black. So I'll say mine before I bounce, and you guys can share yours. I think for me, the thing that I love about Blackness, and I think especially because it's something that I've had to embrace over my lifetime, kind of like I was talking about earlier, how I used to try to disassociate from it, and now I'm like, no, I'm Black. I'm blackity black black. I love that we have, like, as much as there's a struggle, I feel like there's the struggle that comes from also a level of envy, like you were saying before. Like, there's an innate like coolness to being Black. There's like an innate like swag to being Black, and even though it's something like before I never really felt comfortable with, now I lean into a little bit more. But it's nice that we have that ability. Like, yes, there's all the negative sides to it, but at the end of the day, like, you can have like a level of coolness. Like, at the end of the day, you can make a face and people think you're tough. And like I said, there's bad sides with it, but there's definitely some good sides with it as well. So I enjoy that I have that versatility, especially where I'm at, where I can go from either side back and forth. I can move through them fluidly. It's nice. So I love being Black because we're wonderful people.
That's a fact.
I got
Say it loud and proud. I'm Black and I'm proud.
I'm Black and I'm proud. I was trying to find my shirt because I have every month. I'm always Black, but this month I'm blackity black black, but I couldn't find it. Would have been perfect. Oh well. Well, thank you guys again for having me, and you have a great evening.
Thank you for joining us, and you do well on your other lives tonight.
Thank you. Thank you.
love you. Thank you so much. And as for my portion that I'm going to leave on the table as far as what I enjoy being Black, it's definitely resonance off of what she said, and that African butterfly, as far as the soul. I love having the soul of just being able to walk with rhythm, talk with rhythm, be able to speak with a certain bounce and shit. You know what I mean? I didn't notice just how much soul and rhythm I had with my speak and shit until I had to do voiceovers. And there was something like a commercial that I was doing or whatnot, and it was about the Superman Metropolis Museum and shit. And I was telling my lady, I'm like, yo, I can't say this like how I would say this because the fuck? Superman is an American white Caucasian superhero. And I switched my shit and I was like, Metropolis superhero. I was like, yeah, that's it. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you know what I mean? That's one thing. Definitely the soul. Definitely the soul. That's what I was saying. That's what I'm gonna leave that there, you know?
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna say our resiliency. You know, like, because Black people, we resilient as hell. You know, we push through and we keep on pushing, even when times look dark and bleak. We still make a way. You know. So that's why I'm leaving with. And we wrapping up on the hour mark. So
Beautiful.
we're going to wrap things up. Guys, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. You know, like, for my birthday, that's all I want y'all to do. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Help us get the views up. So stream that thing. Search YouTube for Positive Vibes Baby. 4 episodes up on there. Clips. Poems. All that shit.
Word.
Also, don't forget your t-shirts. Sponsored by T-Shirt Mercenary, and the official sponsor of PVM, the talk show. Pretty Rude says she wanted a shirt. So Pretty Rude, we're giving out free T-shirts. I don't know if you was in the chat earlier, this live, but I announced it earlier. But we're giving out T-shirts for the rest of this month to anyone that subscribes to our YouTube channel before February is over. Just send us a picture of you just subscribing to it, or like a screen recording of you subscribing to it, to the PVM DM, and then from there we'll take your sizes, your color for your t-shirt, and then we'll ship it out to you as soon as possible. So that's for anybody viewing. So definitely before February is over, make sure you guys, you know, subscribe and get your t-shirt. Jetty, any last words for the people?
No. Hey man, peace, love, and harmony. I'm gonna do them like Cornelius on Soul Train. You know what I mean? Peace, love, and soul. You feel me? That's what I'm gonna do. We love y'all. We out.
Y'all enjoy y'all night. Y'all stay blessed up, prayed up, and loved up. We'll see y'all Sunday.